स्वामिन् नमस्ते नतलोकबन्धो कारुण्यसिन्धो पतितं भवाब्धौ मामुद्धरात्मीयकटाक्षदृष्ट्या ऋज्व्यातिकारुण्य सुधाभिवृष्ट्या स्वामिन् नमस्ते स्वामिन् नमस्ते स्वामिन् नमस्ते स्वामिन् नमस्ते। यत्कीर्तनं यत्स्मरणं यदीक्षणं यद्वन्दनं यत्श्रवणं यदर्हणं लोकस्य सद्यो विधुनोति कल्मषं तस्मै सुभद्रश्रवसे नमो नमः। विचक्षणाय चरणोपसादनात् संगं व्युदस्योभयतोऽन्तरात्मनः विन्दन्ति हि ब्रह्मगतिं गतक्लमाः तस्मै सुभद्रश्रवसे नमो नमः। तस्मै सुभद्रश्रवसे नमो नमः। तस्मै सुभद्रश्रवसे नमो नमः। जय गुरु, जय गुरु, जय गुरु। My pranam at the holy lotus feet of my Guru, Swami Bhumananda Swamiji. My pranam at the holy feet of Shri Krishna, who is manifest in my Guru, and my pranam to all of you devotees who have been coming here every day with devotion to listen about Shri Krishna, His excellences, His glories, His exploits. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru. Today I thought I'll speak a little in Malayalam in the beginning. കഴിഞ്ഞ കുറച്ച് വർഷമായിട്ട് എന്നോട് എല്ലാവരും പറയുന്നു, മാതാജി ഒന്ന് മലയാളത്തിൽ സംസാരിക്കണം. ഞാനിത് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. എനിക്ക് അത്ര മലയാളം അറിയില്ല. ഞാൻ സാധാരണ ആൾക്കാരായിട്ട് സംസാരിക്കാറുണ്ട്, അതിലെ കുറേ മിസ്റ്റേക്സ് ഉണ്ടാവും. അപ്പോൾ എത്ര വലിയൊരു സഭയിൽ ഇരുന്നിട്ട് ആ മിസ്റ്റേക്ക് ഉള്ള മലയാളം പറയാൻ എനിക്ക് എത്ര നാണം. അതുകൊണ്ട് ഞാൻ ഒരു പ്രഭാഷണം നടക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ല. ഇത്തവണ നമ്മുടെ ആശ്രമത്തിലെ സ്വാമിജിയുടെ ശിഷ്യത്തി രാജമ്പൽ വന്നിട്ട് പലതവണ പറഞ്ഞു, മാതാജി ഇത്തവണ മലയാളത്തിൽ സംസാരിക്കണം. അപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു. പക്ഷേ എനിക്കറിയാം, ഞാൻ ലെക്ചർ ഞാൻ പറയാൻ പോണില്ല. 2 ദിവസം മുമ്പേ സാധാരണ ഞാനിപ്പോൾ കാലത്ത് 5 മണിക്ക് ഇവിടെ എത്താറുണ്ട് ഭാഗവത പാരായണ കേൾക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട്. ആ സമയത്ത് അന്തരീക്ഷം എത്ര നല്ല ഒരു അന്തരീക്ഷം ഉണ്ടാവും. ഇരുട്ടാണ്, നിശബ്ദമാണ്. ആ സമയത്ത് ഞങ്ങൾ നമ്മുടെ ആശ്രമത്തിൽ നിന്ന് 4 മണിക്ക് പുറപ്പെടും. ഇവിടെ എത്തുമ്പോൾ ചിലപ്പോൾ 4:45-5 മണിയാവും. ഞാൻ വന്നിട്ട് നേരിട്ട് ഈ സീറ്റിലിരിക്കും. 3.5 മണിക്കൂർ എങ്ങനെ പോകും ഒന്നും മനസ്സിലാവില്ല. അപ്പോൾ ഒരു ദിവസം ഞാൻ കേട്ടിട്ട് പ്രാർത്ഥനയൊക്കെ കഴിച്ചു ഇവിടെ. അപ്പോൾ ആരെ വന്നിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞു, മാജി വോളണ്ടിയേഴ്സ്മാർക്ക് ഒന്ന് അമ്മയെ കാണണം. അപ്പോൾ ശരി, ആയിക്കോട്ടെ. അപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ ആ കുട്ടിൽ സ്വാമിജിയുടെ കുട്ടിലെ അവിടെ ഒരു ചെയറിൽ ഇരിക്കായിരുന്നു. വിളിച്ചോളൂ പറഞ്ഞു. അപ്പോൾ കുറേ ലേഡീസ് വോളണ്ടിയർമാർ അവിടെ എത്തി. ഒരു 20 പേരുണ്ടാവും. എല്ലാവരും ഇരുന്നു എൻ്റെ കൂടെ. അപ്പോൾ കുറച്ച് സംസാരമുണ്ടായി. എന്താണ് നിങ്ങളുടെ ജോലി, നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എങ്ങനെ തോന്നുന്നുണ്ട് ഈ വോളണ്ടിയറിങ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ, ഇതൊക്കെ ഞാൻ കേട്ടു. അവരെ മറുപടി പറഞ്ഞു. അപ്പോൾ 1-2 പേർ പറഞ്ഞു, സത്രം ഇപ്പോൾ തീരാറായില്ലോ, അപ്പോൾ മനസ്സിൽ വല്ലാതെ സങ്കടമാണ്. അപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു, ഇതൊരു ഭാഗവത സത്രമല്ലേ, ഇത് സാധാരണ ഒരു വോളണ്ടിയറിങ് ഇല്ല. അപ്പോൾ ഇവിടെ നിങ്ങൾ വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്, ഈ 10 ദിവസം രാവിലെ തൊട്ട് വൈകുന്നേരം വരെ, രാത്രി വരെ നിങ്ങളിവിടെ ഉണ്ടാവുന്നു, എത്ര കേൾക്കുന്നു, സേവനം ചെയ്യുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ ഇത് മനസ്സിലായിട്ടുണ്ടല്ലോ, ഇതൊരു ഉത്സവമാണ്. പിന്നെ ഈ ഉത്സവം ഇതിൻ്റെ ഒരു തുടക്കമുണ്ട്, പിന്നെ ഇതിൻ്റെ ഒരു അവസാനമുണ്ട്. ഇതെപ്പോഴും ഉണ്ടാവില്ല. ആ ഉത്സവത്തിൽ പങ്കെടുത്തിട്ട് നമുക്ക് ആനന്ദമൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടാവും. പക്ഷേ ആ ആനന്ദം നിൽക്കില്ല, അത് നിത്യമല്ല. അപ്പോൾ മനസ്സിലൊരു ചോദ്യം വരണം. ഏത് ചോദ്യം? ഈ ജീവിതത്തിൽ ഇതേപോലത്തെ ഏതെങ്കിലും ഉത്സവം ഉണ്ടോ? ആ ഉത്സവൻ്റെ ഏതെങ്കിലും ഉത്സവമുണ്ട്, അത് തീരാത്ത ഒരു ഉത്സവം. ആ ആനന്ദം തീരില്ല എവിടെയോ, നിത്യം ആനന്ദം എവിടെയോ കിട്ടുമോ? അങ്ങനെ ഒരു ചോദ്യം മനസ്സിൽ ഉണ്ടാവണം. അപ്പോൾ അതാണ് ഭാഗവതത്തിൽ പറയുന്നു. ഇതേപോലത്തെ കുറച്ച് സംസാരമുണ്ടായി. പിന്നെ കുട്ടികളെ വരാൻ തുടങ്ങി. വോളണ്ടിയർമാർ ഇത്തവണ ചെറിയ കുട്ടികളെ, എത്ര ചെറിയ കുട്ടികൾ ബാജ് ഇട്ടിട്ട് വോളണ്ടിയർ ആയിട്ടുണ്ട്. എന്താ നിങ്ങൾ ചെയ്യുന്നു? അപ്പോൾ പറയുന്നു, അപ്പം പാക്കറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നു, അതാണ് സേവനം. വളരെ സന്തോഷം കുട്ടികളുടെ മുഖം കണ്ടിട്ട്. പിന്നെ കുട്ടികൾക്ക് വളരെ സന്തോഷമാണ്. പിന്നെ എത്ര ഹൈറ്റിലെ കുറച്ചു കുട്ടികളെ വന്നു, പെൺകുട്ടിമാർ, ആൺകുട്ടിമാർ. അപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ ചോദിച്ചു, 2-3 ആൺകുട്ടി വന്നിരുന്നു. ഞാൻ ചോദിച്ചു, ഒരു കാര്യം പറയാമോ, ഇവിടെ വോളണ്ടിയറിങ് ചെയ്യുന്നു, മറ്റൊരു സ്ഥലത്ത് വോളണ്ടിയറിങ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ഈ രണ്ടത്തിൽ എന്താ വ്യത്യാസം? ഇവിടുത്തെ വോളണ്ടിയറിങ്, മറ്റൊരു സ്ഥലത്തെ വോളണ്ടിയറിങ്, എന്താണ് വ്യത്യാസം? അപ്പോൾ ഒരു കുട്ടി പറഞ്ഞു, ഇവിടെ നമുക്ക് എപ്പോഴും ഒരു ഫാമിലി ആയിട്ട് തോന്നും. വളരെ ഇഷ്ടമായി എനിക്ക് കേട്ടിട്ട്. ഒരു ഫാമിലി പോലെ ഒരു ഇവിടുത്തെ അറ്റ്മോസ്ഫിയർ ഉണ്ടായിട്ടുണ്ട്. അത് കേട്ടിട്ട് വളരെ സന്തോഷിച്ചു. എന്നാലും അത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് ഞാൻ കുറച്ച് സ്റ്റോളിൽ പോയിട്ട് നിറഞ്ഞിട്ട് നോക്കി, എല്ലാ സ്റ്റോളുകളും പോവാറായി. ആ സമയത്ത് നമ്മുടെ ഇവിടുത്തെ ഉണ്ണികൃഷ്ണൻ വന്നിട്ട്, മാതാജി എല്ലാവരുമായിട്ട് മലയാളത്തിൽ സംസാരിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടല്ലോ, എല്ലാവർക്കും വളരെ സന്തോഷം ഉണ്ടായിട്ടുണ്ട്. എനിക്കും സന്തോഷമുണ്ടായി. അപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ വിചാരിച്ചു, എന്തായാലും എനിക്ക് ലെക്ചർ മലയാളത്തിൽ പറയാൻ സാധിക്കുമോ അറിയില്ല. ഇടയിലെ കുറച്ചും 1-2 സെൻറ്റൻസ് ഞാൻ ശ്രമിക്കാം. പക്ഷേ ഞാൻ ഇത്തവണ കുറച്ചു നിങ്ങളായിട്ട് മലയാളത്തിൽ സംസാരിക്കാം. എന്തെങ്കിലും തെറ്റുണ്ടെങ്കിലും ക്ഷമിക്കണം. തെറ്റുണ്ടോ? ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. മുപ്പത്തൊന്ന് കൊല്ലം ആവാറായി കേരളത്തിൽ വന്നിട്ട്. ഇതാണ് ഒരു എന്താ പറയുക, ഒരു സങ്കടം മനസ്സിൽ. ശരിക്ക് സംസാരിക്കാൻ ഇതുവരെ അറിയില്ല, ചില മിസ്റ്റേക്സ് ഉണ്ടാവും. പക്ഷെ ഞാൻ എഴുത്താൻ വായിക്കാൻ പഠിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. എനിക്ക് എഴുത്താൻ വായിക്കാൻ അറിയാം. ഞാൻ ശ്രമിക്കാം അടുത്ത തവണ കുറച്ചും കൂടി കൂടുതൽ ഒരു ചെറിയൊരു ലെക്ചർ ആയാലും ഞാൻ മലയാളത്തിൽ പറയാൻ ശ്രമിക്കാം. ശരി, അപ്പോൾ ഇംഗ്ലീഷിൽ തുടങ്ങട്ടെ. I think it is, now I am also having that kind of a feeling which our Swamiji always has. He says that I cannot mix up English and Malayalam. Now having talked in Malayalam for some time, I am also feeling how to talk in English now. Actually, let us go back to the scene. We have been here for 9 days. 9 days we are hearing about Bhagavatam. And we should not forget how it started. What was the scene? Why Bhagavatam was told to Parikshit? Parikshit was cursed. Only 7 days were left for him. And he was afraid. He was afraid of the bite of the snake, Takshaka. And he also repented why he misbehaved with a sage, a saintly person. Also, he was, thinking in his mind that I think I have been always attached to my home, my house, my property, my kingdom, my armory, my treasury, all these things. Now, though I have been feeling that I am a devotee, I had a great ego that I am a devotee, and everybody knew Parikshit to be a very noble, high-souled. And he was known to be a great devotee of Lord Hari. But he has behaved like this. So he is repenting and thinking in his mind that I have not behaved like a devotee. Devotees have very good qualities. Neither they give any problem or difficulty to anybody, nor they get affected if somebody behaves with him in a wrong manner. So why did I do like this? That means my mind is not pure. So God has been very kind, and it is a blessing to me that He has sent this Brahmana boy's curse to me so that I can grow in my devotion and renunciation. So thinking this, he is asking Shukadeva that please tell me what I should hear, what I should chant, endana kekannadu, endana japikkinam, what is my duty, and smartabhyam, what should I remember always, what worship I should do, you please tell me, and also tell me what I should not do. This was Parikshit's question. Now, remember the scene. Parikshit is sitting with tearful eyes at the feet of Shukadeva and asking these questions. He has left drinking water, he has left his food, and sometimes or other he is telling Shukadeva that I am not eating, not drinking, but though I am feeling very hungry and thirsty, I am not affected at all because you are giving me the drink of immortality through your words. He is saying this. So, when Parikshit asked the questions, then Shukadeva said, Variyanesha te prashnaha, said that your prashna, your question is very, very great. It is the best because when whatever I tell in reply to this your question, it will be not only helpful for you, it will be beneficial to the whole world. And he says, Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvaro Harihi Shrotavyaha Kirtitavyascha Smartavyaha Ichchata Abhayam. Says that, O king, this world is such, there is always fear, there is always tension and always anxiety in people's life. Though people are saying that everything is transitory, fleeting, every ananda goes off, it doesn't stay, still they do not think what is permanent in this life, what ananda will remain forever. So, he is saying, if you want to go beyond your fear, now what is your fear? Your fear is that you are going to die on the 7th day by the biting of Takshaka. This is your great fear. You are fearing it. If you want to go beyond fear, O king, then you must listen about Lord Hari, you sing his glory and remember him. And also at the end he said the same thing, that, O king, nothing will bring about purity in the mind. Neither vidya, nor tapasya, nor pranayama, nor friendship with anybody, nor pilgrimage, abhisheka, vrata, dana, japam, nothing will make the mind pure. We think that if you do all these things, what are these things? Suppose we learn a lot, we learn the scriptures, we do a lot of tapasya, we do a lot of pranayama, we are very friendly with everybody, we go for pilgrimage, we worship God, then all our sins will go and will become pure in the mind. But Shukadeva is telling the king that, O king, you will not become pure by all these. What will make you pure? Your purity will be only when yatha hridisthe bhagavan bhagavatyanante. That Ananta Bhagavan, if you keep that Bhagavan in your mind and keep him always in your mind, think about him, then only your mind will become pure. And only when mind becomes pure, bhakti can be generated there. Otherwise we will be bhaktas like we think that we are bhaktas. We feel that we are devotees. But do we all have the lakshanas, the characteristics of the bhaktas? Why is it that if you are devotees, we get annoyed with people, we hate people, we dislike people, we become affected when something goes wrong? These are not the bhaktas' lakshanas. So, a pure mind is necessary for anybody to grow in devotion. You know, many of you are reading Bhagavata, many of you go to Bhagavata Saptahams, maybe wherever you can you go, and there is lot of joy. There is lot of joy in that. But the thing is that every day we should try to understand, we should try to question, we try to analyze ourselves whether our bhakti is increasing or not. Whether our vairagya to the world is increasing or not. If bhakti has to increase, what is that bhakti? What is actually bhakti? Bhakti has to be ahaituki and apratihata. That is motiveless bhakti. Not that I would, by the name of bhakti, we go and worship, we do worship in grand manner, we offer so many things to God, we chant so many shlokas, we feel very full of devotion and joy, horripilation, tears coming from the eyes. That may be one kind of bhakti, but that is not the end of it. If bhakti has to be true bhakti, then bhakti has to be motiveless. Don't ask anything from God. Do we do that? We are always going and worshipping God in the temples, asking for what? All the family members should be all right. My daughter should be married. My son should have a good job. I must get a promotion. I'm thinking of buying a new flat. Let it come through. Or there is a case. Let me win. All these, we are going and worshipping and asking God from all these things. Just loving God, we are very rarely we are thinking of God without asking anything. And apratihata, that the one that I told, unmotivated bhakti is ahaituki. And what is apratihata? Apratihata is, even if something happens, some calamity takes place, some adverse situation comes to your life, you don't get affected. Your worship doesn't stop. You still feel that this is given by God and God will give me strength to bear it. This is called apratihata bhakti, just like Prahlada. Prahlada's father did so many things to kill him. But did his bhakti towards God stop? He remained bhakta. His bhakti only increased. So, Shukadeva is telling this. Now, what are we doing? Now, in our life also, this may be Parikshit's life, 7 days are left. for all of us who have this body, can we say when we will die? So Parikshit's question is applicable to everybody. And we want to know how we can have bhakti, what mind we should have, what attitude we should have, so that we are not fearful of death. We are not fearful of anything adverse happening to us. So, in short, we want to go beyond fear. We want to become unaffected. We want to be fearless and unaffected in life. This is the long and short of it. And how will we become that? The whole of Bhagavata is telling Parikshit how to go beyond fear. And that is applicable to us also. That is why Shukadeva said that whatever I will tell you will be very, very beneficial to whole of mankind. Because he is telling Parikshit how to go beyond the fear of death. And that is what we also want to know. You know, everybody wants peace and happiness in life. Can anybody raise their hand here in this assembly who doesn't want peace and happiness? Will you raise your hand? Everybody wants peace and happiness. So, how will we have peace and happiness? Only when there is no fear in our life. Otherwise, always our life is fearful. What is the fear? Suppose we want something. We want our life to be led in a certain manner. There is always a fear. Will it happen in that manner? Will every wish that I have, will it be fulfilled? It doesn't happen. Suppose God is graceful and He has fulfilled all your wishes. Then what is the fear? Whatever I have got, will I lose it? That becomes the fear. So fear is there everywhere. So to be peaceful and happy, we have to go beyond fear. In Uddhava Gita, Sri Krishna tells Uddhava, Akinchanasya dantasya shantasya samachetasaha maya santushta manasaha sarva sukhamaya dishaha. He says that if you want sukha, that is happiness, then every side, whichever side you look at, wherever you look at, whatever happens to you, every time you will be peaceful and happy when you have these qualities. What are the qualities? Akinchanasya, you don't have any possessiveness. Dantasya, when you have restrained your senses. That is, senses do not go to material things always. And Shantasya, the mind is restrained, mind is calm. Samachetasaha, that your heart has samadrishti for everybody. Maya santushta manasaha. And lastly, one who is absolutely contented in loving me alone. So, if we want a sukha, see in our life what happens? We definitely have happiness. But if you closely look at our life, you will find, though we have happiness, happiness is mixed with unhappiness and fear. Fear of losing, fear of not getting what I want. So unhappiness because of that. And you will find unhappiness is more. So, why is it happening? Because our mind is not contented. We are not contented. If God has given us so many things, a food to eat, dress to wear, a place to stay, this life itself, we have, the blood is flowing, we have got air to breathe, water to drink, so many things He has given. And still we will feel that I want more. This is called lack of contentment. Whatever is there, we are not happy and satisfied with it. So maya santushta manasaha. So whatever God has given, by that be santushta. You become santushta. So this Unless we have that attitude, God says, if you have that attitude, akinchana, don't have possessiveness, restrain your mind, restrain your senses, and have samadrishti for everything. Also, you be contented with me alone. Now, we may say we are bhaktas. Are we contented with God alone? Can you say? Not at all. Are we contented with God alone? No. We may be having a little time for our worship, but we are constantly looking and thinking about our family, our close people, our wealth, our property, what all we can get more, what comfort I can get more. All these things we are interested about. So this is, the Lord says, Krishna says, to have happiness and peace, you must be like this. If you have, then sarvaha sukhamaya dishaha, all dishaha, everywhere, wherever you turn around, you will find sukha and sukha alone. You know, one day, my Guru, Swamiji, taught me one shloka. I have told you many times that he asked me to learn shlokas, and I was very fond of learning shlokas. So one day he taught me this. This also is from Uddhava Gita. Nishkinchana mai anurakta chetasaha shanta mahanto akhila jiva vatsalaha kamairana labdha dhiyo jushanti yat tannairapeksham navidussukham mama nishkinchana mai anurakta chetasaha. It says that if you become nishkinchana, again nishkinchana, akinchana, similar, that you do not have any possessiveness. Mai anurakta chetasaha. You know, we read Bhagavatam. It's a wonderful, wonderful book. Every word of it, if we squeeze, nectar will fall. It will fill your heart with so much of joy, peace, happiness, and all that. But are we just to read? Are we just to think that I have read today 2 chapters? People come and tell us, every day I read 4 chapters of Bhagavatam. Or wherever there is Saptaham I go. Are we to do only that? Or additionally, I am saying additionally, we have to look at the words, and what we can take from the words, we have to do that. That is, see, look at this sloka. Nishkinchana, we have to be without possessiveness. How much possessive we are regarding everything that we have. Our possessions, our feelings, our emotions, the whatever we think about anything, we feel that that is the right thing. Then, mai anurakta chetasaha. What does this mean? Mai anurakta chetasaha. Oh, does it mean that one has to be fond of God to the exclusion of other fondnesses? That is, Bhagavane matram sneham undavanam. Baki snehangale adlem kal korvana. Bhagavane matram snehikinam. Mai anurakta chetasaha. Then the next question comes. See, I am reading this sloka. Nishkinchana mai anurakta chetasaha. What is meant by nishkinchana? How I can become a nishkinchana? What does it mean by mai anurakta chetasaha? Idinte artham enda? Mai anurakta chetasaha. How can I become a anurakta chetasaha? Endu cheyyumbol ജ്ഞാനം കൂടി അത് ഒരു അനുരക്ത ചേതസഃ ഉണ്ടാവും. That thoughts, those questions should come to the mind. So, mai anurakta chetasah shantaha, calm and tranquil. Mahantaha, he should be noble-minded. Akhila jiva vatsalaha. That is, you should be loving everybody in this world, not only your children, not only your parents, not only your relatives, everybody. That is where the samadrishti comes. Everybody will feel, oh, this is my child, or this is my father. Suppose this, looking at a person, if you feel that person is looking distressed, oh, suppose my father was in this condition, how I would feel. You should start feeling like that. Or if my child was feeling like this, how I would feel pained. So let me try to solve the problem of this child also. Akhila Jiva Vatsalaha. Then comes the most important one. Kamaihi analabdhadhiyo jushanti yat. And mind should be completely free of desires. Kamaihi analabdhadhiyo jushanti yat. The mind and buddhi should be free of desires. For that person, if a person has all these qualities, God gives him what? Nairapeksham Sukham. What is this Nairapeksham Sukham? Nobody else will get this Nairapeksham Sukham. Others will get what? Ordinary Sukham. This is talking about Nairapeksham Sukham. Have you ever thought what is this Nairapeksham Sukham? All our Sukha, all our happiness depends on something. I have thought of buying a new dress. When I get the dress, I buy it, I become happy. So my happiness is dependent on what? On the dress. I want to get into a good college. So I've got good marks, I got into the college. Then my happiness is dependent on what? By that act. All our happinesses is dependent on objects, places, people. I want to meet such and such person, or I want to go and visit that place, and I become happy when it is fulfilled. This is our happiness. So all our happiness is fulfilled or is dependent on objects. And whenever that object is not there, because objects are what? All are anitya, temporary, fleeting, transitory. Every time. That is why our delight and happiness does not remain. Because we are trying to get happiness from such things which are perishable, which will not remain, which are vinashi. They are not avinashi. So, now Krishna is telling Uddhava that, oh Uddhava, if a person has all these qualities, being nishkinchana, being mai anurakta chetasaha, shantaha, mahantaha, akhila jiva vatsalaha, and kamaihi analabdhadhiyaha, then he will get nairapeksham sukham. He will get a sukha which does not depend on anything in this world. Because that sukha is always there in our mind, in our heart. We are carrying that sukha, but we do not get it because we do not look inside. We do not look into our heart. We always look outside, think that from outside we will get all our happinesses. So our eyes are always outside and towards everything else in this world, not inside ourselves. It doesn't go inside. So nairapeksham sukham, if when we hear this word, most of mankind is so foolish, knowing that this is there, knowing that such a sukha is there, which will never become nil, which will always be there. Still we are so foolish that we run behind that happiness which will simply go, which will not remain. This is what we are. Now, how to get that nairapeksham sukham? In Bhagavata, we are reading it. Many are reading actually. And as I am saying, it is such a wonderful text. Such a wonderful text. It fills one with honey and nectar. But it is not only to be read. Yat Shinvan Vipathan Vicharana Paraha. It comes at the end of Bhagavatam in the 12th skandha. So not only you should hear, you should study, and you should do vichara. Only when we do vichara, we will be able to reach that state of Nairapeksham Sukham, or which will also again lead us to that state where we will be fearless and unaffected. And Bhagavatam is saying what? That state can come only when we listen about Him. We listen about Him, sing His glory, do kirtana, tell each other the stories about Him. And then what happens? When our mind is filled with the stories of Sri Krishna, His presence is felt in the heart. And by that presence, all our traits, the traits which agitate us, the trait which give us dukkha, all those will go. And we will be able to feel His presence. So, in many of the skandhas, many of the chapters, it says, listen, sing, dance. Shrinvan subhadrani rathangapane janmani karmani chayani loke gitani namani tadarthakani gayan vilajjo vichareda sangaha. Shrinvan subhadrani rathangapane janmani karmani chayani loke gitani namani tadarthakani gayan vilajjo vichareda sangaha. Evam vrata swapriya nama kirtya jatanurago druta chitta uccaihi hasatyatho roditi rauti gayati unmadavan nrityati lokabahyaha kham vayumagnim salilam mahim cha jyotim satvani dishodrumadin sarit samudramsya hare shariram yatkincha bhutam pranamedananyah bhakti pareshanubhavo virakti anyatra chaishatrika ekakalaha prapadyamanasya yathashnatasyuhu tushti pushti kshudapayo nughasam ityachyutangrim bhajato nuvritya bhaktir viraktir bhagavat prabodhaha bhavanti vai bhagavatasya rajan tatah param shantim upaiti sakshat tatah param shantim upaiti sakshat. In Navayogi Sambhashana, it is being said that you have to listen about the holy leelas of the Lord, how He got born, what all He did, and how He lived in this world. Sing about them, listen to them, sing about them, discuss about the exploits that He has done, and sing the songs about Him. There should not be any shyness about it. While talking about Him, while listening about Him, while singing about Him, you may feel like dancing. Then without any lajja, gayan vilajjo vichareda sangaha. Move about, telling people about Him. What do we do? What do we do? Do we do like this? We feel shy. People say, oh, have you become mad? Why are you doing like this? All this reading about God, reading all these texts and singing about God, you can do when you become old. Now at this age, why are you doing it? Are you mad? Why are you going to a satsang? Why are you going to a Saptaham. This is the time when you should enjoy yourself. People tell the youngsters, they tell each other, why should we go? But our text says, should not feel shy. Go around, tell people about what you have heard. Evam vrata sapriya nama kirtya jatanurago. When we tell about him, how will bhakti grow in us? See, a mother has a child. The child is just born. Does the mother have so much of attachment with the child? So much of love? She has to in fact think, oh, Nanura Amma Aigerinu. She has to think. But after some time, will she think like that? After some time, because she has been handling the child, bathing the child, wiping the child, putting dresses on the child, decorating the child, feeding the child, trying to make the child walk, learn walking. Slowly what happens? So much attachment grows. That is how we have to grow in our devotion. We have to constantly think about the Lord, listen about the Lord, read about Him, sing about Him, tell others about Him. It's a very, very simple process. Evam vrata sapriya nama kirtya jatanuragaha. So, when we take His name, Swapriyanama Kirtya, and we take His name with lot of fondness, at that time, Anuraga for the Lord increases. Kham vayumagnim salilam mahincha jyotimshi satvani dishodrumadin sarit samudramscha hare shariram yatkincha bhutam pranamedananyah. So, now, all this are saying, I am not going through all the slokas, but this one is very important, where it says that in everything God is, in this Kham, Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Salilam is water, Mahim is earth, in the Panchabhuta, God is there. We are every day interacting with this. If you look at the sky, there are stars, there are planets, the sun is there, the moon is there, Satvani, all the living beings, Dishaha, all the directions, we are going this side, that side. So every day we are either going to the east, west, north, south. These are the main 4 directions. There are other directions also. And Druma Adin, plants and trees. Sarit Samudramscha, that is river and ocean. That is every day with whatever we are interacting. What are those? God being the one, all pervading, everything it says, Hare Shariram. It is the body of the Lord. And if everything falls under the body of the Lord, because the Lord is one, Lord is all pervading, then each and everything is God. Whether it's the chair, the camera, all of you sitting, these malas, this table, the chair, the mic, the fan, the pillars, everything is God. We have to grow into our devotion. Why we will grow devotion? Our aim. Don't forget the aim. What is the aim? Aim is to become fearless and unaffected. Can you become fearless by anybody in this world? Can you keep it in the bank and sometimes write a check and bring it from the bank? Can you go and buy it from the shops? You cannot. This fearlessness can be had only when we feel God in our heart, and feel. And this is how, if everybody is God, we should be humble, and whenever we have dislike for others, hatred for others, we should think it will be difficult to interact with them. Maybe we cannot behave with them. We cannot interact with them. Difficult people are there. But we should not become annoyed with them, thinking that everything, everybody is part of God. Ityachyutangrim bhajato nuvritya bhaktir viraktir bhagavat prabodha bhavanti vai bhagavatasya rajan tatah param shantim upaiti sakshat. So, if we train our mind like this, we will be able to have bhakti, virakti and bhagavat prabodha. What we want ultimately? Ultimately we want this bhagavat prabodha. That is realizing God inside ourselves so that all our fear goes. There is a very good shloka I will tell in the middle of this. Manye akutaschid bhayamachyutasya padambujopasanamatra nityam udvigna buddher asadatma bhavat vishwatmana yatra nivartate bhi manye akutaschid bhayamachyutasya. So, manye akutaschid bhayam achyutasya. This says that how will you go beyond fear? How will you go beyond fear? It says that achyuta. Achyuta means what? Deflecting. Why Lord Hari's name is Achyuta? He has no deflection. He doesn't move. He is like a very big mountain. If you push also it will not move. We want to have that kind of a feeling in the heart. We want to be unaffected, that is immovable by any kind of dukkha in our life. We want to become immovable. So Achyuta, if we want to become immovable, whom should we worship? The one who is immovable. That is Achyuta. Manye akutaschid bhayam achyutasya padambujopasanamatra nityam. That if you want to become fearless, worship the padambuja of Lord Hari. Udvigna buddher asadatma bhavat. And why are we so worried, anxious and fearful? Because asad atma bhavat. We are considering the unreal thing as the real. We consider this perishable body as the real. And all that is around the body also real. We feel that we will get happiness from all these things which actually are perishable, will not give us permanent happiness. That is why. And if we start worshipping Achyuta, get his qualities, try to realize him, he is Vishwatmana. He is everywhere. There is no separate souls. There is no separate identities, Atmas. Everything is one. He is all pervading. He is Vishwatmana. He is in everything. So, if there is only one, wherefrom I will be fearful? Wherefrom fear comes? If there is a second person. I become fearful of a second object. But suppose I realize this knowledge that everything is one, then wherefrom I will get fear? From whom? So Vishwatmana, knowing Achyuta as Vishwatma, will only take away our fear. It will take away our fear and will make us fearless. Now, the question is that how do we go to that state? What do we do? We have to train ourselves. We have to train ourselves so that we have liking for listening to Lord's stories. Every day we are active. We lead very hectic lives. Our lives are all around our living. Either it is household work, or some people have to go to the office to earn money, to live comfortably. So how do you find God there? What is that? What is the method? In Bhagavatam, that is what Shukadeva has told. through the lives of many devotees, their devotion, their qualities, Krishna's message to Uddhava through that. And if we read them, we listen to them, and we are vicharana paraha, we will be able to have love for listening, love for practicing them, and we will be able to at least, if not realize God, at least try to get that nairapeksham sukham, what it is, we will try to understand, we will understand. For that, when the bhakti increases, our virakti also should increase. That is, unless our interest and anuraga for the worldly life decreases, that is, our attachment decreases, our dispassion towards life increases, bhakti will also not grow. As we become fond of God, as that increases, we'll find many of the things that we have been liking in life will also decrease. Bhaktihi, viraktihi, bhagavat prabodha. And man is so foolish, as I was telling, that we are also foolish. We, instead of being Atma Ramaha, we become Swakutumba Ramaha. Prahlada is telling that we are Swakutumba Ramaha. We are spending our time only to look after the family. We are not seeing. We are very satisfied with whatever little worship and whatever little chanting or japam we are doing. We are very satisfied with that. We are not understanding that ultimately there is a fear of death which we will not be able to transcend, and at that time, who will help us? So, our one, for a devotee, what that devotee should do? The devotee should only pray to God to have that kind of a mind. What kind of a mind? We know, all of you are householders, most of you. And in the household, such hectic activities are there, so many duties and responsibilities are there. It is very, very difficult to keep your mind fixed on God. Even though we try, we are not able to. So what should be our prayer? Our prayer should be, O God, as the little birds, they await eagerly for their mother to return and feed them. Little birds, they cannot fly. They have not grown their wings. They cannot fly. So they wait. Mothers will bring food and they open their mouth and mothers feed them. So what yearning they are waiting for the mother. As hungry calves long for their mother's udder. When a pashukutti is hungry, it longs when it will be let loose and it can go to the mother and start drinking milk. As a faithful wife anxiously awaits the return of her long separated husband. A faithful wife, the husband has gone for work to a separate, different country. She is very sad. How longingly she waits for the husband to return. With that kind of a longing, O lotus-eyed God, I yearn and wait in eager expectation for your blessed vision. This should be our attitude. Then we'll have that embrace of the Lord. Because our mind will be constantly thinking, when will that day come when I will have that vision? And thinking that every moment we will be filled with His presence. Ajata paksha iva mataram khagaha stanyam yatha vatsaraha kshudhatha priyam priyeva vyushutam vishannaha manoravindaksha didrikshate tvam mano aravindaksha didrikshate tvam. I am waiting for your vision, O Lord. With that kind of a longing, which all these, that little bird, the little calf, and our faithful wife has in her mind. I am waiting with that longing and thinking that I must be able to see you. I feel your embrace in my heart. This is what we should do. I want to tell you a story which will also tell us how we can come in the embrace of the Lord. You know, Krishna was very small. He was only crawling at that time. And one day, a Brahmin came to Nanda Raja's palace. So, seeing the Brahmin, Yashoda and Nanda Raja both came. Nanda Raja had not gone to the Sabha assembly. So they both came, they fell at his feet and they said, "You have not visited us for a long time. You used to come and we used to have that great opportunity to serve you. What happened?" And then Yashoda brought Krishna and said, "This is my child. Since you have not come, you don't know that I have got a son now. He is Krishna, my child." And ask for blessings, that please bless that he lives long and he is very happy. He gives us Paramananda. So Nanda Raja had to go to the Sabha. So he took leave and went away. He had washed the Brahmin's feet and everything and made him sit. And leaving Yashoda and small Krishna with him, he had gone away. Now this Brahmin, as soon as he saw Krishna and thought that, now Yashoda has got a small son. So she used to serve me very well. Now that she has got a small child, she will not be able to give so much of time for my service. Also, a small child means always the mother will be smeared with either urine or stool. So she will not be pure enough to give me food and everything. So better that I go and go to some other house. When this child grows up, I will come here. So he told Yashoda that, "See, I will, better I go because you have got a small child, you will be very busy with the child. So I will go, I will come when your child becomes bigger." So Yashoda started crying. She said, "How can that be? We are always given to doing service to God and the Brahmins. If the fact that I have a child will not take away that dharma of mine, so there will not be any difficulty. As usual, please take food here or whatever you want, I will make arrangements." So the Brahmin said that, "Okay." And also, Yashoda also said that you don't become anxious that I will have to look after my child, so I will not get time. Look there, my child is there. Everybody likes him. Actually, I don't have to spend time with him. All of them will play with him. So the Brahmin looked, and in the courtyard he found small Krishna was crawling. Something happened to his mind. He said, "Oh, this is just like the form that my Ishtadevata has. Every day I am doing contemplation on this form only." But very soon then his mind was melting and he said, "Oh, what is the madhurya in this boy? What sweetness he has." And then he was watching how the boy was, trying to catch the tail of the calf. And then some peacocks came, they started dancing around him. All the Gopa and Gopikas, they started coming and started playing with him. Then sometimes they were saying, "Krishna, you sing." So he would sing, try to sing something. Like that, many of these plays they were busy with. And this Brahmin, when he saw, he was feeling that, oh, how beautiful. I am just not able to take away my eyes from that sight. I am feeling like, what is this boy? Who is this boy? I am feeling like looking at him again and again, that darshana lalasa is becoming intense and intense in me. And then he thought that, okay, Yashoda is requesting me to take food here, so I will agree. Though I was a little hesitant earlier, now I will agree. And if I agree, I can sit here and look at this boy. He is giving me so much of feeling inside my heart. So Yashoda was told that I will take food here. So Yashoda said that I will make all arrangements. She made arrangements in one of the Goshala. All the cows have gone out. So the Goshala she cleaned, she did herself. And always she used to do herself. Though they have lot of servants and maidservants, she used to do the seva herself. So this time also she went and took bath. She cleaned the Goshala. She made a new oven for him and bought all the vessels which are necessary. This Brahmin was saying that I am in a little hurry, so give me something which can be cooked easily. So Yashoda said that some payasam can be cooked. So all the materials for the payasam was brought ready. Vessel, then chatukam and kail, everything was bought. Also, after making the vessel in which he will take food, that also very costly, golden ones she brought and kept. And then she said, she fell at the Brahmin's feet and said that, you please make your food, I will wait for you when you call me, I will come. So the Brahmin said, I am very happy. You know, initially I thought that your son has been born to a small child, he will not get time. Always you have been serving me with lot of Shraddha and Bhakti. But now I find that after getting a son, your Shraddha and Bhakti to serve a Brahmin has increased. Generally when people are in dukkha, those who do not have children, they are in dukkha, they do not have so much of Shraddha and Bhakti. They have Shraddha and Bhakti. But those who have lots of riches, they do not have that much of Shraddha and Bhakti. But for you, it is absolutely opposite. I find that though you have a child, your Shraddha Bhakti towards doing seva to a holy person has increased. So I am giving blessings to your son. Let him live long and let him grow up well and give all of you happiness. So Yashoda took him there. Yashoda was showing the way where to go. The Brahmin was thinking, oh, I should have told Yashoda to make my cooking place somewhere near this courtyard so that I can watch this boy. I can look at him while I cook, I can also look at him and feel happy. But anyway, Yashoda has made arrangements in a faraway Goshala. So there they went. And Yashoda went away and the Brahmin started cooking. But again and again, the little boy's face was coming to his mind. So he was cooking and thinking what has happened to me and all that. After cooking, he made an asan, and that is his Ishta Devata. He offered the Nivedyam to the Ishta Devata, went out of the room and closed the door of the room and sat outside doing his japa, Ishta Mantra. After some time, his japa was over and he opened the door, and what does he see? He sees that little Krishna is sitting on the ashan of the Ishta Devata and he is eating the payasam. He is eating the payasam. His one thigh is folded and on that is the pot. He is taking payasam from both hands, eating, smearing on himself. He is very small, no? And at times with happiness, he is beating as a drum that vessel. At first moment, he thought, oh, what is this? This boy is so beautiful. But next moment he got very annoyed and started calling, Yashoda, Yashoda. Yashoda came. Yashoda had actually given milk to the child, and that Krishna had fallen asleep. Yashoda also had fallen asleep by his side. Yashoda got up and found Krishna is not there. And Yashoda came running. The Brahmin was thinking how this boy entered here. Maybe when I was cooking he had entered and he was hiding somewhere, and after that he has started eating. So Yashoda came, and when Yashoda saw the scene, Yashoda fell at the feet of the Brahmin, saying that, please don't curse him. Let not any inauspiciousness come to my child. Please don't scold him or curse him. Brahmin had become a little cool by that time, said that no, I am not going to scold him or curse him. He is a little boy, what does he know? He doesn't know what is good and bad. And he must be liking payasam, that is why he is eating the payasam. So, but Yashoda, this is why I told you that I don't want to take food in your house now. I will come when your son becomes big. So, do you understand now that what I had told was correct? Yashoda kept on pleading that please don't go away. I will make every arrangement a second time. Please don't go away, and it will be a great amangala for the whole family. So, he said okay. And Yashoda made all arrangements and taking Krishna, and he also said that I will sit with Krishna and see to it that he doesn't escape. So Yashoda went with Krishna and went inside the house. Meanwhile, Nandaraja came back from the assembly and asked, did you serve the Brahmin? Has he gone away? Then Yashoda was telling him this story, that what had happened. Again, Yashoda, they heard. And Yashoda looked at the place where Krishna was sleeping. Again, Krishna is not there. Where has he gone? Krishna has again gone there. Both of them went and found Krishna is again taking payasam. So this time the Brahmin said that, please let me go. I will, if you feel that amangala will come to your house, then give me some butter or some curd or anything. I will eat that. But let me go. It is understood that today my food is not written here by God. So don't become sorry for anything. Your son is very small and he has not understood what he has done. But the fact is that my nivedyam to my Ishta Devata has gone bad. I could not offer it to him. But anyway, I am going. So both of them, Nandaraja and Yashoda, fell at his feet and pleaded with him that this time we'll take more care. Nandaraja said that I will send him to another Gopi's house and I will myself stand here as a guard so that he cannot come here at all. So ultimately the Brahmin thought that okay, let me agree. And the Brahmin agreed. Yashoda did the same arrangement for the third time. And again, after having cooked everything, after having offered, he came out, the Brahmin came out of the room, he closed the door and he was chanting his japam. After that, when the japa was over, he entered and he found the same scene again. But this time, this Brahmin thought, what is this? Who is this? It is exactly like my Lord whom I have been worshipping. So, without getting annoyed, he started going towards the child. The child was sitting there eating payasam. Then everywhere payasam is smeared. He is making, sometimes beating a drum like drum. He is beating the vessel and beating it. And seeing the Brahmin is approaching towards him, he has become very frightened. So with frightful eyes he is looking at the Brahmin, but with a sweet face and lisping and sweet voice, when the Brahmin approached him, he said, you are only calling me, you are chanting so many shlokas, you are chanting your mantra, and you are only calling me to eat this payasam, but when I am eating, why are you getting annoyed with me? He said. The Brahmin did not understand. Brahmin was thinking, what has happened? Have my senses gone bad? Whom am I seeing? Who is this? And kept on looking at that small Krishna. Krishna said, are you not able to recognize me, Brahmin? Are you not able to recognize me? Then the Brahmin understood it is his Ishtadevata. And that little Krishna said, yes, people do not recognize me. They do not recognize me because they do not want to. I am everywhere, but they do not want to see me everywhere. They are very satisfied doing their little puja and aradhana for me. Some little shlokas, some little chantings, some little reading the text. And they become very complacent that they have known me or they have worshipped me. More than that, nobody wants. And saying this, she was looking at the Brahmin, and the Brahmin felt that, oh, what a fortune I have. And Krishna said, you have been contemplating on me, my form, for years and years. Sometimes you have not taken food. Sometimes the whole night you have done tapasya for me. And now that I have come in front of you, as your Ishtadevata, you could not recognize me. But I am your Ishtadevata. So the Brahmin, he could not say anything, he was just standing like a stone. Then Krishna went away. And that time, Brahmin took everything, all the payasam that was there, he took as prasada, he tied part of it in his utterium, and he came out of that room. Nanda Raja was standing there as the guard. He said, Prabhu, did you eat well this time? He said, yes. Whatever I have ate and whatever I have seen, I have never done that before. And he did not wait there anymore. He had got his fulfillment. He went away. This I told you just to say that, when I read this in one of the Vyakhyans, Tikas, I told so many people, this is what Bhagavatam says, that you talk about him, think about him, sing about him, tell his stories, his glory, his exploits. Then, by constantly doing that, he will fill your heart. He'll embrace you. He'll embrace you with all his sweetness, all his protection, all that words of fearless words that he will speak to you. And all that we will get is his touch. And we'll also become fearless. We'll become loving to everybody. This whole world we will see as him. This is how a devotee should progress in devotion. Adhokshjalambhamiha shubhatmanah sharirina samsriti chakrashatanam tad brahma nirvana sukham vidurbudha tato bhajadhvam hridaye hridishwaram adhokshjalambhamiha shubhatmanah sharirina samsriti chakrashatanam tad brahma nirvana sukham vidurbudha tato bhajadhvam hridaye hridishwaram tato bhajadhvam hridaye hridishwaram tato bhajadhvam hridaye hridishwaram. So we have to worship the Lord in our own heart. He is there. As He is everywhere, He is inside us. As our very being, as our life forces, He is there. With stretched out arms, He is saying, "O devotees, come, look at yourself. Look within. I am there to embrace you. I will give you that happiness which will never be over, which will never go away. Look at me." And if we do so, He embraces us. And that embrace is Nirvana Sukham, Brahma Nirvana Sukham. It is called the Vishnu Sparsha. We can do that. and only is that we have to be vicharana paraha. We have to constantly look whether our bhakti is increasing, whether our vairagya is increasing, whether our fondness for God is becoming more than our fondness for the world. Okay. Jaya Shankha Gadadhara Neelakalevara Pita Patambara Dehi Padam Jaya Bhakta Janashraya Mangala Karana Antima Bandhava Dehi Padam Jaya Shankha Gadadhara Neelakalevara Pita Patambara Dehi Padam. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru. അടുത്ത കൊല്ലം എനിക്ക് ഒരു ഇപ്പോൾ മനസ്സിൽ മോഹമുണ്ട്. കുറച്ചാണെങ്കിലും ഞാൻ ഒരു പകുതിയായാലും മലയാളത്തിൽ സംസാരിക്കാം ഭക്തിയെ പറ്റി.